Hi students, welcome back. I am Rucha Shukla, your educator from Study Room. Let us continue your chapter. And now we are going to read the second part of your chapter, that is the poem Animals. Alright, first let's get to know about the poet. Walter Whitman was an American poet, essayist, and journalist. His works often reflect his ideas on transcendentalism and realism. So basically, the writer Walter Whitman was basically he was a poet, he was an essayist, and also he was a journalist. And his works often talk about realism and transcendentalism. Now let's start the poem. I think I could turn and live with animals. They are so placid and self-contained. I stand and look at them long and long. They do not sweat and whine about their condition. They do not lie awake in the dark and weep for their sins. They do not make me sick discussing their duty to God. So basically here the author talks about how he feels like he could live very peacefully with the animals, saying that they are not you know so self-contained, or they are not very selfish. So he says that he stands and looks at them for hours and hours, for very long periods. They do not whine about their condition, like even if they are sick or they aren't well, they don't whine about it. They just sort of carry out their daily tasks without being problematic. They do not lie awake in the dark and weep for their sins. So basically animals do not just do anything that is sort of has to be repented by them later on in the night. They have a good night's sleep instead of just doing wrong things and then sort of asking or apologizing about those sins at the night in God to God. They do not make me sick discussing their duty to God. Basically, the animals, unlike humans, do not, sort of patronize God like humans do. Not one is dissatisfied, not one is demented. With the mania of owning things, that means, none of the animals are ever dissatisfied in their lives. They're always satisfied in whatever and whichever things they have. They don't have the demented, that means they are not obsessed with, owning a lot of materialistic things. No one kneels to another, nor to his kind that lives thousands of years ago. So basically, here, the author says or the poet says that no animal sort of bends or worships another animal, all right? Nor do they keep in account their ancestors. Not one is respectable or unhappy over the whole earth. So they show their relations to me and I accept them. So they say that, animals are not unhappy at most of the times. They are happy and satisfied and they are respectable towards the earth. They bring me tokens of myself. They evince them plainly in the possession. I wonder where they get those tokens. Did I pass that way huge times ago and negligently drop them? So here basically the author sort of talks about, how the animals sort of bring him tokens, small tokens or small, sort of possessions and gives them to the poet. And the poet wonders where do they get these sort of tokens or these sort of possessions, and how has he not come across these tokens and possessions earlier. So basically this poem is a part from a bigger poem, that is Song of Myself, in the book Leaves of Grass. Now let's see the explanation. So the theme of the poem is the superiority of animals over human beings. They are superior as they are free from human flaws like selfishness, greed, or satisfaction. So as I already told you, basically the theme of the poem is how animals are actually superior to human beings because they do not have the qualities or problematic flaws of humans like selfishness, greed, or dissatisfaction. Human society has an hierarchy of rich over poor, and humans often tend to chase money power. Relationships are more open in the animal kingdom where class doesn't determine how they treat each other. So basically, unlike in humans are very flawed and they sort of keep the rich over the poor. They have a hierarchy about all of this. and they chase money, they chase power, they place it at the top. Unlike that, in the animals or among the animals, the class doesn't determine how one animal takes another animal, and it's not at all problematic. Now let's see. Notice the use of the word turn in the first line. I think I could turn and live with the animals. What is the poem turning for? So basically here the poet is sort of turning from the problematic life or the flawed life that he has lived with human beings. He now wants to turn away from living with the human beings to living with the animals. Mention 3 things that humans do and animals don't. So humans are greedy, humans are always dissatisfied, humans place money over normal relationships, and animals don't. So you can write here greed, dissatisfied, and let's do humans kneel to other humans who lived thousands of years ago? Yes. Somewhere or the other, we do kneel or we do respect or we do keep in remembrance our ancestors or some great people or some very rich people who had existed even thousands of years ago just because of the power they used to hold. What are the tokens that the poet says he may have dropped years ago, and which animals have kept them in discussing class? So basically the tokens here are basically the qualities that the poet feels he has dropped very ages ago, a very a long time ago. He believes that somewhere or the other, seeing animals, all of these qualities are sort of returning into him. He's sort of changing and getting them back. Alright, now let's end the chapter by doing a quick revision. The poet describes his desire to become an animal because he believes in the superiority of animals over humans. So basically, the poet talks about the superiority that animals hold over human beings. Human beings are avaricious and envious of one another. Animals, on the other hand, are calm and self-contained. So, human beings, somewhere or the other, we're always jealous, envious, and avaricious of another human being. Animals, on the other hand, they are very self-contained, happy, self-assured, and do not have such emotions. Unlike humans, animals are content with their circumstances. Humans also place more value on the wealthy and powerful, while animals are open about their relationships. So basically, we also know that a very important part of being a human being is the materialistic wants that we have. So humans place a lot of value in the wealth and power. But on the other hand, animals are not this problematic. They are very content in life. With this, your chapter comes to an end. I hope you understood everything, and I'll see you in the next chapter. Bye.